and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a throwback look at the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Transformers The Last Knight Optimus Prime. Potentially the best version of the Knight Optimus Prime we ever got released by Hasbro and Takara, and to be honest with you, judging by some of the promo images of this guy, the paint apps are so well done. Now, for whatever reason, when this guy was originally released, he just completely slipped under my radar, which is rather unfortunate, as of course I would have loved to have managed to pick this guy up 3 or 4 years ago, instead of picking him up 4 years later. But yet here he is today, and I'm super excited to actually be able to crack him open and show him off to you guys. Now, before we take a look at the figure himself, he also comes with a few additional bonus items. So here we've got this white cardboard box that when you do in fact actually open it up, it reveals a really interesting piece of merchandise. Now, this is in fact a real part of the Western Star truck that Optimus obtained in both Age of Extinction as well as The Last Knight. I really would have never expected them to have packaged anything like this in with this set, but you can see how this is in fact one of the ties of Optimus Prime from the AOE movie, and I guess that's quite a cool piece of memorabilia to actually add to the collection. We also have got a certificate here of authenticity. You can see that my version is 598 out of 5,000, so they definitely did produce quite a considerable amount of these figures, and you can see there's some really nice signature detailing. And then as we just flip here to the back, you can see Transformers Certificate of Authenticity. But actually taking a look here at Optimus Prime himself, the box art, as per tradition with these SDCC exclusives, is fantastic. We have an exceptional piece of artwork there of Optimus Prime, albeit with the flame details actually inversed. I believe that the chest piece should be red with the flames being blue, but nevertheless you can see Prime there looks super cool. We've got a really nice backdrop from Transformers The Last Knight. As we turn our attention here to the side, we've got the Voyager class Premier Edition Optimus transformed into truck mode, and already I'm able to see significant enhancements to the paint applications when in comparison to the regular retail release. As we spin here to the side of the box, you've got Optimus Prime, Earth's greatest protector, includes Optimus Prime figure, 2 accessories and instructions. And then here for the other side of the box, it's exactly the same. We've got a really cool image there of Optimus, this time wielding his epic looking sword. Here at the top, we've got an image there of the Western Star truck, and of course we've got the figure fully displayed here with an actual engraved Autobot insignia at the top. So without further ado, let's finally crack this open after 4 years of wait and see how awesome this version of Optimus truly is. And at long last, here we have Optimus Prime cracked open and out of the packaging. And yes, this guy may in fact actually be the best version of Age of Extinction Prime that Hasbro and Takara ever put together, at least one that stays in one piece. I know Takara did bring out the Caliber Optimus Prime, which I actually think is super cool, but of course the entire back section of that was detachable, meaning that you could convert it into a shield, which of course is parts forming, whereas this guy for the most part actually stays together incredibly well. Now, of course, if this figure does appear to be familiar to you guys, that is because essentially the basis mold for this is the Last Knight Voyager Prime, albeit this time with a killer paint deco. Honestly, this looks leaps and bounds better in comparison to the original retail release. You can see we've got some wicked looking details here going on for the front grille. I absolutely love the flame decals. Personally, I've always thought Optimus looked killer on the silver screen with these flame details, and it's really something that I wish all live action movie primes would have. I know that that's not to everybody's personal preference, especially those of you who grew up with the G1 series, but for me, Prime has always had the flames, and that is something that I really hope to see once again in the future. You can see there the Autobot insignia, a super amazing metallic blue actually used for the cast plastic. These sections picked out in a very nice silver. As we spin our attention here to the back, we sadly have got some grey plastic for the exhausts. It would have been epic if they could have cast these out of chrome, or if they could have painted them in silver, but nevertheless you can see here we've got the shield stored on the back, and then as we flip here to the underside, we've also got the sword, which we might as well remove now, considering we will have to do so for transformation. You can see very nice looking details on this, as well as some nice red paint. I wish maybe they could have gone a little further with the paint. If this could have been completely painted in silver with some blue details, that would have been excellent, but as it stands, it's still pretty decent. And of course here we've got the shield, which unlike the sword has been completely painted in silver. And you can see this here definitely looks really cool, especially with that metallic blue. But in regards to a Voyager Optimus Prime mold, this is super awesome. You can see the figure is completely filled out, which is just fantastic. We've got silver hubcaps for every single one of the wheels, as well as the Autobot insignia placed within. We've even got the Western Star detail there, and the figure is also able to actually roll along the ground with ease, so he can certainly roll out with the rest of the Autobots. So in regards to truck mode, I'm going to give this guy a 10 out of 10, especially in regards to the mold. I think that this has turned out super nicely, and this time with that metallic blue as well as some of these silver metallic highlights, he certainly looks incredible. Now, turning to transformation here for Optimus Prime, this may just be my personal opinion, but when the Last Knight movie came out, Hasbro really began pumping out some of the best movie figures that they'd really released since Dark of the Moon. I thought Age of Extinction was a terrible time for the live action films, but with The Last Knight going forward, I really think they began drastically improving the quality of the engineering as well as the materials used. This guy was borderline what we would expect from Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon. So for conversion, you're going to want to come here to the top, top. Just detach this section and lift it there to the back. We can then turn our attention here to the front section of the grille. You're just going to want to separate this like so. We can take these panels here, hinge them out to the sides, and I believe they are supposed to actually collapse here, but we'll do that later on when we've got a little bit more clearance. We can then turn our attention to these panels here, detach this region, bring this all the way down. This tab will peg into that slot. Of course, come here to this side and repeat the same process. Detach this, bring the legs down. We can then rotate here at the thigh, rotate the trailer hitch in just like this. We can then take the foot, bring this section down and repeat the same process, rotate, and then this tab will in fact fit into this slot, so just snap that in there. We can then take the front grille, reverse this all the way around, and then it's just a matter of manipulating this in a way so that it does in fact tab super securely there into the side of the leg. We're then going to want to spin our attention here to this side and of course repeat the exact same process, so snap that in there, come to this section, take this grille piece, flip this in, and then rotate this around and snap that there nice and securely there into place. Spin your attention here up to the top of prime, rotate here at the waist. We can then take these back panels and just collapse those in, and you can see how we've got two tabs here and here that will in fact actually slide into these two slots. So bring the backpack all the way down until that does snap in there really securely. We can then spin our attention here to the shoulders, lift the arm guards up, rotate them out to the sides, rotate here, snap that section in, take these panels and just compress them there to the back, snap that in. Of course, come here to this side, repeat the same process, fold out Prime's head, come here to the torso plate, snap that into place, and of course fold out these chest pieces, and there you've got Transformers 5, the last night Optimus Prime, fully transformed up into, at least in my opinion, a really killer looking robot mode. Honestly, they did such a fantastic job, considering that the only other version that we had of this guy prior to his release was that Age of Extinction leader class Optimus Prime. Honestly, it completely paled in comparison to this. They did such a fantastic job, and to be honest with you, I actually have no issue with this guy being my stand-in Studio Series version, as I'm not entirely sure how Hasbro could actually make this better unless they were to make the conversion super complex. I think they came pretty darn close. Now, as mentioned at the beginning of this video, this guy is the same as the mass retail Voyager Optimus, so for those of you who own that mold, you'll know exactly what to expect. He merely only differs in regard to the paint scheme, and honestly, what a difference it truly makes. You can see, as we bring him in here for a closer look, the attention to detail in regards to the face sculpt is just mesmerizing. If there was one area I wish they perhaps did better with, that would be the eyes. You can see the eyes are definitely a little too large for my preference, and it would have been wicked if they could have maybe added some tiny little purple dots in order to give you the impression that he had pupils, in order to, I guess, make him into Nemesis Prime, or even some lighter shade of blue dots, just to really bring the eyes to life. But as it stands, you can see they definitely do look on the slightly larger side, but the attention to detail there to the mouthpiece, I think looks really nice. You can see here for the torso detailing, this just looks killer. Super awesome metallic silver, as well as some darker highlights in there. You can see all of the intricate mechanical detailing. We've got the flame sections here on the chest piece, a detail which was in fact actually missing on the mass retail version. You can see we've got some nice metallic blue sections here for the shoulders, albeit they should actually be gunmetal in order to match the movie, but still, in regards to a toy, I don't think they look too bad. You can see here for the bicep armor, that's all turned out really nicely. The gauntlets too picked out in a very nice metallic blue, albeit once again missing some flame details. I think the sculpt work looks fantastic. As we turn our attention down to the lower section of Prime, you can see some nice metallic blue highlights here for the skirt armor, and the legs honestly are just loaded with detail. I think the shins look exceptional. You can see the mustard yellow that we've got underneath here, as well as the silver and the red, and we've even got some nice red highlights for the actual foot design. As we spin our attention here to the side of Prime, he actually cleans up a lot better than pretty much any of the other figures we got from Hasbro and Takara prior to his release. I really do think they did a pretty fantastic job. And then we turn to the articulation. Now, this actually isn't too bad. Of course, it's not up to par with what we've come to expect with the likes of the War for Cybertron trilogy, but it's still pretty good. Here for the head joint, you can see it can look up as well as down. It can tilt side to side as well as rotate left to right. We do get a full rotation here at the shoulder. These armor pads can move out to the side in order to facilitate a hinge joint there. We get a rotation at the bicep, 90-degree bend here at the elbow. Sadly, no form of wrist rotation, which is the joint that I really think they could have pulled off. We do, however, get a waist rotation, which is super cool. The legs can kick forwards that far as well as back, so I would say about that far. Of course, you can do the splits, rotation here at the thigh, 90-degree bend here at the knee, and sadly, no form of ankle rocker pivot forwards or backwards or to the side. But I am definitely able to get this guy into some pretty cool poses, and of course if we bring in some of Optimus Prime's accessories, we can just further amplify his look in making him look like a true badass. So we've got the Knight Sword here, which you can just insert into the hand, which honestly I think is on the slightly smaller side when in comparison to how it appeared in the movie, but still doesn't look too bad. And of course we've got his super metallic shield here, which you can just attach into either of the ports on the back of the arms. And with both of those accessories, Prime definitely looks as if though he's ready to take on either Megatron or of course Bumblebee. In order to actually store some of these accessories, you can take the sword, and he does in fact actually have a sheath here on the back, so you can in fact recreate his look from the last night where he is just wielding the sword on the back, which I think is a really cool look. Sadly there's no placement for the shield other than on the arm, but such a cool looking Optimus Prime. And so some final thoughts here for the Transformers The Last Night San Diego Comic-Con 2017 exclusive Optimus Prime. I actually think this figure is awesome. Now when it was originally released, I believe it retailed for about £80, which for a Voyager is extortionate. It's almost triple the price point, but of course you are getting the addition of an actual piece of Optimus Prime's Western Star truck, which I really think is why this guy costs so much. Official merchandise taken from the set of the movie always goes for astronomical prices on the aftermarket, so I can kind of understand as to why Hasbro did charge so much for this guy. But in regards to an actual Voyager figure, I think this guy is killer. By far the best version of Age of Extinction Prime / The Last Night Optimus that we ever got from Hasbro and Takara, at least up until this point, and one that stayed in one piece and didn't parts form. I think in regards to truck mode, it looks fantastic. I think the robot mode as well looks pretty darn awesome, and this time with the new paint apps, honestly, he looks killer. Really impressive on the shelf, and will no doubt look fantastic amongst some of your other Studio Series Optimus Prime figures, until at least Hasbro do decide to approach this design in the future. And if they do and they manage to improve upon this, then it's definitely going to be a really awesome figure, because as mentioned, I really love how this guy looks. I would love to know down in the comment section below what you think of this particular figure. Also be sure to let me know what you think of both this review as well as me throwing it back to some of these older releases. I have so many older figures in my collection that I'm just so eager to show you guys, so I would love to know down in the comment section below what figures would you like me to take a look at in the next throwback review. Also be sure to let me know what you think of this actual mold itself, and whether or not you guys were lucky enough to actually obtain this 2017 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I thank you all for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.